Hello and welcome. In this video, I'm going to walk you through step by step how to create this easy double exposure effect in Photoshop, and we are starting right now. Firstly, we're going to start by creating a canvas. In this case, I'm going to be using 1920 by 1080 pixels, and once you select the size of your canvas, you want to go ahead and hit on create. And once you have your canvas, you want to go ahead and bring in any of the image that you want to use. But in this case, we are going to be using this image right here. I'll just go ahead and place it in a way that is going to fit and hit on the check mark. Now, I still need to go ahead again and bring in the image that we are going to be using as the exposure. In this case, it's going to be this image right here. I still need to place it somewhere in between the first image in a way that it will align perfectly. And what I need to do at this case is to come back to the opacity and reduce it so that I will be seeing the outline of our main subject. And right now, I can go ahead and resize the image in the way that it will fit our main subject, just the way I'm doing it like this. And still go ahead and resize this part. And once you have something of this nature, you can go ahead and hit on the check mark. And now I need to come up to this cloud and hold down my Alt. In between these two layers, I want to click so that it will be clipped to the image just like this. And what I can possibly do is to go ahead and increase my opacity again to 100%. We're going to have something of this nature. Now, I want to come back to this background and come back to the adjustment layer and select solid color. I'm going to be picking a color from our cloud, and I'm going to be using this part right here. And once you have your make color, you want to go ahead and hit on the good sign. Now, on this same cloud, I want to go ahead and add a layer mask. And once I add the layer mask, you want to make sure you're selecting the layer mask and hit on beef from your keyboard to have the brush tool. Make sure your foreground color is set to black. In this case, the opacity is 25%, and I want to make the flow as well to be 28%. And right now, I can go ahead and remove some of the cloud from the face with the soft round brush, just like this. You don't want to exaggerate anything. Just take your time and remove some of the parts just the way I'm doing it like this. And once you feel you've convinced enough, you can go ahead to the next step. But in this case, I can go ahead again and decrease my flow to be like 12%. And this time around, my foreground color is going to be set to white because I just want to paint over these parts. I don't want it to be too sharp, just to blend everything together. We're going to have something of this nature. And right now, what I can possibly do is to select this main subject in question, and I want to come back to this adjustment layer and select color lookup. Here, I want to come back to the 3D LUTs and come over to T orange plus contrast. You're going to have an effect just like this. It's very easy to achieve this double exposure effect. And right now, I can come over to the make cloud again, and my foreground is still white. I can paint over these bears, over this part right here, because it was too sharp to achieve something of this nature. Okay, and once I have it like this, the next thing I can possibly do is to bring in this flux of birds. Firstly, I want to hit on the check mark and come back to the blending mode and select darken. Select your move tool and try to resize this flux of birds just like this. And I want to place it in between this head and the background. Still go ahead and decrease the size to something of this nature and hit on the check mark. Now, I'm still selecting the birds layer. I want to come back to the opacity and decrease it to make it to be as if the birds are in the cloud, to something of this nature, just like this. This is basically all that you need to achieve this double exposure effect. And the only thing we need to do to this image is to make it more dramatic. And for you to achieve that, you want to hold down your Alt, Control, Shift, and press on A from your keyboard to have everything on a single layer. Go ahead and right click and convert that single layer into a smart object. Once you've done that, you want to come back to the filter and come back to the camera raw filter. It's very important. This way, you're going to have the beauty of your design. I want to go over this to have the before and the after. And then I want to start with the light. I'm going to make the exposure to be positive to something of this nature, and as well increase the contrast to be like plus 43. Come back to the highlight and make it positive as well to like plus 23. And the shadow, I want to make it negative 45. And the white, I don't basically need anything from the white. From the black, I want to make it negative 49 or even negative 45 as well. And you want to come back to the color. Here is where you're going to choose the tone of your design. I want to make the temperature to be more blue to have that cool effect to something of this nature. And the tint, I can just add some greenish color, little bit, not too much, no need to exaggerate, to something like this. And now you want to come back to the effect. to make it more dramatic, you want to increase the texture all the way down. You want to repeat the same thing with the clarity all the way down. Here is the way to make it to be more dramatic. You're going to come up with an effect just like this. And I want to add some vignettes to my design and make it negative to like 21 or negative 13 to something of this nature. And once you have it like this, I want to come out to the curve, and for the curve I just need to decrease some of the highlights just little. And now I'll come over to the color mixer. I want to select this orange color, remove some of the saturation to something of this nature, and add some luminance just like this. And the next thing I can possibly do is to come over to the details and increase the sharpening to something of this nature. This is the before and this is the after. I want to go ahead and hit on the good side. You're going to come up with results just like this. This is what we just created. This is one of the most easy effects in Photoshop. And mind you, there are a lot of ways to achieve the same double exposure effect. In any of the way you feel you're comfortable with, that's what you're going to use. But this is the most easy way you can achieve this result. On my own, this was the one that I created, okay? And I also have a different dimension of something of this nature. And the first one that I created for this video was this. This was actually the first one that I make. And for this video, we create something of this nature. I hope you learned something from this video, and if you do, go ahead and give me a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel so that whenever I upload another video just like this, you will always be the first person to be notified. And having said this, I'm going to see you in this video that is going to pop up here. Cheers, peace out.